And we are live once again. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to BWTM. And we now end on our world tour. We started eight. Thank you, my voice. Okay, we started the evening in Birmingham with Frankie Gavin. Then we went straight over from Birmingham. We went to the trainer of now new trainer Frankie Gavin and manager Frankie Gavin and the manager of Jamie Cox. We spoke to Dean Edwards. From there, we moved swiftly on to Ian Lewison, who fights tomorrow night against Joe Joyce in big fight for both fighters. Ian Lewison thinks he's going to knock Joe Joyce out. Joe Joyce has other ideas. And then we just finished talking to Bermain Stavern in Vegas. And now we have the best we waited till last, ABEL Sanchez. ABEL, how are you?
Good evening, Ingram. How are you? I am doing great here.
Fantastic. Where are you at the moment, ABEL?
I am in Newark, New Jersey, getting ready for the fight on Saturday between Gassiev and Wlodarczyk.
Okay, so let's talk a bit about Gassiev and how's preparations been going?
Preparations went well. We were in camp for about 10 weeks. We had some great sparring. He's 100% healthy. We know we're in a tough fight. This tournament has 8 very good fighters in it, so we're going to have a tough fight every time out.
In your experience, in all the fights you've had, have you ever been involved in a big tournament like this before?
No, never before. This is actually pretty unique, and it's something that's very good for that forgotten cruiserweight division. I think the cruiserweight division is like the middleweight division. There's a lot of speed, there's a lot of power, there's a lot of boxing ability, and these 8 guys are proving that. I think it's going to be a great thing for boxing.
I know we've spoken before about how you train fighters in the way that you feel best. Now, from training someone who like Golovkin as a middleweight, now you're training Gassiev as a cruiserweight, and then you've got Andrew Riz as a heavyweight. Tell us how the styles contrast and how you have to differ your coaching style to meet the different weights.
Well, I don't think the coaching style differs. I think what differs is the amount of work that you put each one through. Obviously, the heavyweights are not gonna be able to work as hard and as steady as the lower weights. But I want all my guys to fight like middleweights. From middleweight on up, I wanted to fight the middleweights. I want my cruiserweight to throw punches like a middleweight does. Maybe it won't be completely like a middleweight, but as close to it as possible. The same thing with the heavyweight. I think that we owe that to the fans. The fans merit that kind of fighter that's going to give them some exciting fights. And if we have heavyweights or cruiserweights that are lumbering out there that are not doing the division justice, then the fans are going to get disenchanted and not tune in. So I try to coach all my guys to be as active and as aggressive as possible.
Christopher Wlodarczyk, what sort of threat and what sort of challenges he bring to Gassiev?
Well, you have to remember this guy's a 2-time world champion. He was the IBF champion, his WBO champion, or WBC, one of the two. But he has 50-some fights, 55, 56 fights. Gassiev had 25 fights as an amateur, and he's got 24 fights as a pro. So Christoph has got more fights, period, than Gassiev has got in amateur and pro. So experience is something that in his own right, in the gym and sparring with some high-level guys. But these kind of fights are the kind of fights that a prospect needs if he's going to get to the next level.
Okay, so how do you overcome the experience gap? Because Wlodarczyk's had much more experience. You said, so as a trainer, how do you overcome that? Is it just the fact that the guy's more classy, have got more skill? What do you do to compensate for that experience?
I think in this particular case, it's going to be the aggressiveness of Gassiev and just wearing the more experienced guy down, wearing him down because Gassiev is the bigger fighter. So we're able to pressure and we're able to land some shots on his body and on his body and on his arms then I think we'll slow him down, and hopefully by then the experience will go out the window because he's going to be standing in front of Gassiev, and Gassiev is going to be able to work the things that he does in the gym. Now, when I say experience, I'm talking about experience, not so much technical experience, but I'm talking about experience in a big fight like this, in a fight where you can freeze. As a youngster, all of a sudden you see all these people, and you don't do the things that you were doing in the gym. But if we slow Wlodarczyk down a little bit, and he's not as mobile as he wants to be, then I think Gassiev will have a better chance of catching him with some shots.
In your opinion, is Wlodarczyk peaking or is he on the slide?
No, Wlodarczyk is definitely not peaking. I think Wlodarczyk is. I'm not going to say he's on a slide, but he's not the champion that he was at one time. But then again, that's why he's one of the four underneath the champions. He's one of the other four better cruiserweights. But just the fact that he was a two-time world champion, it wasn't that long ago, I think puts him in a place where he could be the one that upsets the apple cart.
Being that it's the World Boxing Super Series, you lose the fight, you're out the tournament. In this case, Gassiev has got even more to lose because he's the world champion. What added pressure does that put on you as a trainer and Gassiev as a fighter? Because this is not just it's not just losing this fight and going home. You're out of a tournament where you could win the Ali Cup and all the rest of the trophy and all the rest of it. What pressures?
Oh, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. The previous tournament, Super 6, was a double elimination. So if you lost, you could come back in the losers bracket and gain some momentum and gain some fights and eventually win it. But when that tournament was fought, the two favorites were Miguel Kessler and Arthur Abraham, and who ends up winning it? A guy that wasn't even in the tournament at the beginning. A kid with 17 fights. It's Andre Ward. So anything can happen in this tournament because it is a single elimination. The favorite could get beat, and the other guy goes on to win the tournament. Who knows? But it's not only being a champion that he loses his belt, but he's 24 years old. The loss at this point in his career is not a good thing. Would be a lot of rebuilding after that.
When you look around the other cruiserweights, Usyk and the other guys that are about, do you actually spend time looking at all the opponents that are out there that Gassiev could potentially fight, or do you just say, look, I'm just going to focus on the guy that's in front of us at the moment, and then when the next opponent comes, Gassiev is the fight, should we get to the next round, we'll focus on them? Or have you done an overall scout on the position? Yeah, for this tournament, yes.
Before the tournament, obviously we looked at all the cruiserweights. We looked at all the guys that were coming up. We looked at all the potentials down the road. After he beat Lebedev, of course, we looked at all of them to see where we stood. When this tournament started and we got the draw and we got the name that we were going to fight, then obviously we concentrate on this guy. But very aware, I am very aware of all the other guys that are in the tournament, all the pluses and minuses. But right now we're focused on Wlodarczyk because he's the
Abel?
Yes.
Oh, sorry. You have to admit you said he's the, and then you cut off.
Okay, I said that we watch all the cruiserweights, but before this tournament, our concentration was on making sure that we studied everybody. But once the tournament opponent gets named, then we obviously focus on the guy that's next, and that's Wlodarczyk. There's no reason to focus on anybody else because we don't get past Wlodarczyk. There's no sense in knowing anything else.
Okay, that's fair enough. Have you done anything differently in this camp that you would have done in previous camps?
Well, the fortunate thing for us in this camp, we had a little more of a budget to work with, and we were able to bring sparring in that I was not able to bring in for Lebedev. For Lebedev, people didn't want to spar with Gassiev because they saw the Schimmel tape, and managers were afraid to send their guys out, not understanding that that's not how we spar. But for this training camp, we had a little bigger budget, and I was able to bring 4 very good guys in, and we had some great sparring.
Can you talk to me about the guys you brought in for sparring?
Well, I had Keith Tapia in camp. I trained another cruiserweight whose name is Arsen. He's an Armenian kid from France. His name is a little difficult to pronounce. G. Cormalian or something like that.
Okay.
He's 20-0. He's the number one contender in WBA.
Okay.
Also getting Justin Jones, who's 22-0 as a heavyweight, and a young man from Washington whose name is Patrick Ferguson, who's 10-0 as a cruiserweight.
Okay, I had this conversation a while ago with Peter Fury, and he said to me that guys that are unbeaten and are hungry are much better to have as sparring partners than experienced pros. Experienced pros try to survive. Hungry pros have a lot of pride on the line, and unbeaten pros go for it more. What are your thoughts and your opinion?
Oh, he's absolutely right. I think that when we bring sparring partners in, I don't like to call them sparring partners. They're helping each other because they have a career also. They have a career after they leave our camp. They should be using our camp as a springboard and trying to get as much out of it as possible so that when they go on to their fights, they gain a little bit from being with us. I don't like to treat them as if they're punching bags. I like to treat them as they have a career, and I want them to come in. They always ask me what I want them to do. And my immediate response always has been, is I want you to do what you do best. Because if you do what you do best, you're going to help us. You're going to help yourself. If I start asking the sparring partners to modify the style, then they're not giving me 100%. They're giving me the style that I'm asking for, which is not beneficial because they're not at 100%. So if they can give me what they do best, then I think it makes them better fighters, and it makes us a better fighter, and we help each other.
When you take a fighter on, Abel, what is it that you see in a fighter that says, "Yep, I can work with this guy"?
For me, it's character. For me, it's work ethic and character, and the willingness to allow himself to be trained. There's so many fighters out there that are great, but just haven't got that switch that they can turn off. And when I say that switch that they can turn off, is a switch that they know everything. Every fighter that walks the earth thinks he's the best that he can be, and that's the way they're supposed to think. But they have to understand that it takes coaching to make you better. And we from the outside can see things that maybe you can't see when you're inside. So if they're willing to allow us to coach them, and I'm not talking only about me, I'm talking about coaches in general. If they're willing to allow us to coach them, we're going to make them better because of our experience, because of our way of looking things from the outside. But so I would say that for me would be character and work ethic.
Okay, as a coach myself in a different sport, do you have an outlook? You've got a student and you think, well, okay, this is what I see he does good. These are the things I think he needs to work on. From Gassiev's first fight to now, where is he on the ABEL Sanchez radar in terms of being the best he possibly can be?
I think I'm about 80% with him. I think that gauge a fight. First of all, gauge a round and gauge a fight. I like for guys to know what they're going to do in the first minute of the first round, the second minute, and the third minute of the first round, and so on and so forth in every round. I want to have an idea of what I'm supposed to be doing, and for them to know what round it is and what minute of the round it is. I don't like for my guys to be surprised in a fight, and the only way to do that is by giving them those type of, not only sparring, but those type of opponents that make them plan out something. And I think that I say 80% because Gassiev is still in the learning stage.
So you say Gassiev's in a learning stage. What is it you want him to improve on now, moving forward? Okay, what's the ultimate Gassiev when he's done all that you wanted to? What does he look like?
The ultimate Gassiev is the Gassiev that knows when to step on the pedal. The ultimate Gassiev is to know how to set up a moment in a fight or in a round where he can step on the pedal and get somebody out. He's got the punch. He's got the boxing skills. I don't think mentally yet he's 100% sure of himself, as it was in the Lebedev fight. In the Lebedev fight, I thought there was 3 or 4 moments where he could have stepped on the pedal and got Lebedev out, or at least got him really hurt. But he because of the inexperience, I think that he let off the gas a little bit and just coasted. Those are the things that you only learn from in fights like this against a Wlodarczyk, against a Lebedev. But this kid's, like I said, he's only had 49 fights total in his career. He hasn't had that good sparring that I would love for him to have. We're going to get better, obviously. But once he matures in that aspect of it, I think he's going to be a dangerous man.
At the other cruiserweights that are in the division, have you seen anybody that's caught your eye outside of Gassiev as well?
Oh, I think that the two other guys that I have to be very worried of is Dorticos and Usyk. I think Dortico, his big background and his good boxing ability, and he's got a big punch. And I think Usyk, being a gold medalist, you have to respect. His style may not be pleasing to a lot of people, but he did win a gold medal, and he is undefeated, and he is a world champion, and he's seeded #1 in a tournament.
How much does he was with Bashir, and now he's left. Bashir's left. He's now got his assistant trainer. The Bashir said he's only had about his assistant trainer, Bashir's assistant trainer, who now is Usyk's main trainer. It's only got 5 years in total in terms of training. How much is that as a hindrance or a help to Usyk moving forward in this tournament? And does he lose or does he gain not having a Bashir in his corner?
Well, he loses at the beginning. I think that, he loses at the end because Bashir is the kind of coach, all coaches that are developing fighters, it takes time to develop a fighter. Usyk right now is depending on what, first of all, the basic things that he worked on with Bashir, but also on the experience in the amateurs. So once that runs out, then he's going to have to look for something to back him up. He's going to have to look for somebody to be able to develop him even further. Whether the man that's working with him now can do that or not, I don't know. Bashir is a known commodity that has done that in the past. So we don't train for tomorrow. We train for the future. Us coaches, we train for the future. We train to develop you. We teach you things today, tomorrow, that are going to help you in the long run. So I think that he will lose in the long run when he runs out of options, I guess you could say. Because he doesn't have that type of knowledge behind him.
Can you get away with that sort of stuff in this type of a tournament, or do you get found out?
You can get away with it if your basic knowledge of the game is better than the other guys, better than anybody else has. But I think that there's a couple guys in this tournament that could pose some problems for him. Could pose some problems for him when it gets tough. For instance, Andre Ward and Sergey Kovalev. We talked about this before. Sergey Kovalev doesn't need a coach in his opinion. Doesn't need anybody knows everything what to do. Well, obviously, in 2 fights, or the last 6 rounds in the first one, and the 8 rounds in the second one, he was completely befuddled. He was completely lost on what to do. Why? Because the other guy had been coached. The other guy had a brain trust behind him that they worked on a plan and they worked on something, and the other guy trusted the guy that was working with him. So it gets to a point where you run out of options, and if you run out of options with a very good guy in the ring with you, then it's going to be difficult. And in this particular tournament, I think 2 guys, Gassiev being one and Dorticos being the other, that will make you reach back for things, and if they're not there, then you're going to be in trouble.
Chris Eubank Jr. has a different take on things. He says, well, I've got a trainer in my corner, but if I don't know how to fight, then that's my fault, not the trainer's fault. So I'll react to what I see in the ring. Nobody can know better than I can.
Yeah, well, Chris Eubank Jr. is not an undefeated fighter, for one. And Chris Eubank Jr. hasn't even won a title yet, so he's talking from something that he has no experience in. If it was his father saying it, then I'd have a different take on it. Then I'd have a different answer for it. But Chris Eubank Jr. has a long way to go to even know what it feels like to have a belt put around your waist. Not only a belt, but a belt that is considered a legitimate belt. Whatever belt he's got right now is not really a belt where you have fighters that are considered the top of the heap with him. So until he gets that, and until he accomplishes that, I don't think he's got room to talk. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
The ABEL belt at one point had some prestige. I mean, in the point where they would only give their belts out to either undisputed champions or guys who are ranked #1. Remember them giving the IBL belt off to Roy Jones when he was top of the tree. When Lennox Lewis was undisputed champion, they gave him a belt. When George Foreman, I think, had the titles, they gave Foreman the belt at one point. The IBL had, people said that their ranking systems were pretty good. Why do you think today that the IBO hasn't got the same credibility it had back then?
Well, it's because of what you just said. The key word is they gave him the belt. belt. He didn't fight to work himself up the rankings and fight the guys that he's supposed to fight to get better. He gave him the belt. So, and not only that, he got beat by the WBO champion. So, I don't know what people think of Billy Joe Saunders in England, but he's still the WBO champion. He did beat Chris Eubank. So, again, I think you have to earn the right to talk that way. I think you have to earn the right to
We're just waiting for Abel Sanchez to come back. We've just lost Abel Sanchez. He'll be back in a moment. We'll get Abel in a second. He just disappeared. He'll be back. Give us a couple of seconds. It's like jetting up in the mountains. This always happens. You have to wait. It happened last time, but that's when he was up in the mountains. Sometimes he loses connection up in the mountains. Yep. Big beer. Typical. So give us a second. We'll get Abel straight back. We'll be with you in a moment. Let's see. Let's try again.
Sorry, it got cut off.
Yeah, I know it happens when you're up where you are. Sometimes the internet goes. So you were saying you were talking about Chris Eubank Jr.
Chris Eubank, yeah. I just said he doesn't have a right to talk that way. He hasn't earned that right to talk that way. If it was his father, it'd be a different story. But Chris got beat by the WBO champ. He's got a loss on his record, so he has no clue what he's talking about.
In terms of while we're on the subject, did you see his spectacular knockout win over was it the Robot?
Yeah, he had a spectacular knockout against a guy who was fought who? He had a spectacular knockout against a guy that was not on the same level, was not on the same. Yeah, that he was in the tournament, okay, but who is that guy fought? Who is that guy? What made that guy merit the chance to be in this tournament and fight Chris Eubank?
He knocked out.
At least lost against Saunders.
He knocked out the teeth of James DeGale in sparring.
In sparring, that's what you heard. And sparring doesn't count. It doesn't go on your record. You there?
Yeah, I'm listening. Abel. Go ahead.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm still here, Abel. Go ahead.
Okay. Anyway, sparring is sparring, and it's not a fight. It's not. When you're in the gym, you're working on certain things. A lot of the older pros, they allow themselves to be hit, or not, I shouldn't say hit, but they allow the other guys to work so that they can work on defense and work on different shots. So sparring is not the same as being in the gym. In the fight. The guy hadn't fought anybody, so it would be like Mikey Garcia beating that kid from Montenegro. That kid had never fought anybody. To be a world champion, he got I would say a gift. And so for Mikey Garcia to fight him, it looked spectacular against him was easy.
Okay, so and George Groves won the other night against Jamie Cox. How did that?
I think George Groves is to me is the favorite to win this.
Okay, how does he do against Chris Eubank Jr. in your opinion?
I think he beats Chris Eubank Jr. I think that he'll be too big and too strong for Chris Eubank Jr.
Really?
All the slappy, fast punches that he likes to throw, Chris does, will not be effective against George.
How do you see the fight panning out? Stoppage points?
I think that George beats him in a decision, but in a decision that's not controversial. I think he wears him down and he beats on him, and he beats him by 4 or 5 points.
Are you concerned about George Groves gassing in the second half of a fight? He's great in the first half of a fight. Second half of the fight, there.
Well, yeah, but I think he's a better fighter than Christian Beck Jr. Christian Beck Jr. is a flash in the pan. I think that he just throws fast combinations. I don't think he in the fight against Saunders proved that. He's a kid that just talk a lot and flashy, but no substance.
Okay. I take it.
He's not his father. Let's say that. He's not his father.
Okay. I take it that you're not a big fan of Chris Eubank Jr. then.
No. His father, yes.
Why are you not a fan of the Eubank next generation? I'll beat Gennady Golovkin. I'll beat this. I'll beat that. Why are you not a fan of him? The people want to know.
Because I don't think that these kids. I think that they want immediate success, and they don't put in the work as his father did, as Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. did, as Jorge Paez Sr. did. You guys put in the work. The younger generation just seems to live on their father's name. This kid has not done, in my opinion, the necessary things to be put on that level.
So okay, what would be the things that he would have to do to tick off in your box to make the ABEL Sanchez kind of like thumbs up?
I think he would have first to shut up. I think the first thing that he would have to get in there and prove to me against a guy like George Groves or against a guy like Callum Smith, who was also in this tournament, against guys like that he can go in there and dominate that elite level. Until then, all he is talking.
What about his performance?
When they stepped up one time against Saunders in 60, he got beat.
What about the Arthur Abraham fight? Was that not convincing?
Abraham is 100 years old. No, it wasn't convincing. Fight another Abraham in his prime, and we'll see what he does.
Okay. So
in his prime, Arthur Abraham got beat by how many people? How many of the American guys beat Arthur Abraham in his prime? And I say American guys because their styles are similar. Chris's style is similar to, say, the Charlos or who else beat Arthur Abraham?
Froch.
The Durrells.
Yeah,
Froch. In their prime, Arthur Abraham was not enough for those good fighters, or I could even say some great fighters. So how can a depleted old man get beat by Chris Eubank and we're lauding him? It's not something that I think is fair to not only Arthur Abraham but some of the other guys that Arthur Abraham got beat by in his prime.
So you're not impressed with the training footage montage of all this with hand speed and hitting the heavy bag and all that sort of stuff, all 1,000 punches? Are you not impressed with all that?
None of that. The heavy bag don't hit back. Fight a guy that can fight. Then you'll impress me.
Okay, so
all the mid work, all that's nothing.
So the Chris Eubank Jr. verdict is out until he fights somebody decent. George Groves is next up, so that's what you'll keep your eyes on that.
Oh, absolutely. I like both. I like that fight. I like both guys. Don't get me wrong. I don't dislike him. I just don't put him on a pedestal or on a level where you compare him to some of the guys that have earned the right to be there. If he beats George Groves, then we'll have to reconsider and not that my opinion matters, but when you ask me the question, I'm going to give you what I think because of what he has done.
Billy Joe Saunders, a man that you are well now. He's done a lot of talking. Fights David.
He is world champion.
Yes.
He is world champion.
Yes, he is. He is that, and he just beat Willie Monroe. Did you see the fight?
I did not. No.
Okay, you didn't miss much. He fights now David Lemieux, December 16th. How does that fight go?
I'm surprised that fight got made. I think it's a difficult fight. I think it's a 50-50 fight. I'm going to tell you that. I think that David Lemieux may not be the the slickest, may not be the best boxer, but he can definitely crack. And I think he's ironed out his stamina issues. I think that he comes to fight. I think that a guy like Billy Joe is going to frustrate him a little bit, but don't be surprised if they knock each other down. I think it's an exciting fight. That's a fight I want to see. Not only for the middleweight division, but just a fight that I think is going to be exciting because Lemieux is going to make Billy Joe fight, and Billy Joe's going to have to use all his skills. And now being with the new guys that he's with, maybe we'll see a guy that is finally dedicated himself to his craft.
I know you were quite dismissive of Dominic Ingle when he was talking about Kell Brook and trading Kell Brook. Do you still feel?
No, I was never dismissive. I was never dismissive of Ingle. What I said was that my guy was better, and I didn't think that Kell was good enough to be up against my guy. But look, Kell's undefeated. Ingle, not only the son but the father, have developed some very, very good fighters.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be dismissive of that. They don't just come in and all of a sudden they're champions. You have work to do, and I think that they in their little niche of the world, they've done some very good work.
Mm-hmm. Okay, fair enough. I've got to ask the question. Any news about Golovkin and Canelo, or is that definitely next year now?
Well, it's definitely not this year. I'll tell you that.
Good.
I don't think Golovkin will fight before the end of the year. I haven't had a chance to talk to Tom Loeffler, but from what I read, Tom Loeffler is in constant negotiations and in conversation with Eric Gomez, a Golden Boy, and Oscar De La Hoya. So I would, from what I read, I'm hoping that it is in May. If it is in May, I think that it's a perfect holiday. I mean, it's a perfect fight for that holiday weekend in Vegas. It's always been a big weekend for the Mexican people in Las Vegas.
What do you make of this stuff about the WBC celebrating Gennady Golovkin and the talk that if Canelo had kept the belt, that basically instead of dropping the belt, that the president of the WBC would have celebrated Canelo instead, and the only reason why they're celebrating Gennady Golovkin is to spite Canelo. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I haven't heard any of that. I try to stay out of the politics of that because it's a no-win situation for us as coaches. We have to deal with those organizations, whether it be this fighter or another fighter. So for us to get involved in all that gossiping and going back and forth is detrimental to our career too. I have a young man fighting on Saturday night who fights for the IBF title. So now if we have an issue with the IBF with another fighter and I start badmouthing the IBF, then my guy's not gonna get the benefit of the doubt here. So we have to be very careful. Whether we agree with it or disagree with it doesn't really matter. It's something that's political. It's something that's got nothing to do with the fight. The 12 rounds that the fight was contested in is what's important to us. What they do with belts and what they do with all that, that's their business.
Very interesting thoughts there, Abel. I know that you're preparing for Gassiev. Is there anything that you feel that the media haven't asked you or overlooked in your conversation? Obviously, you did a press conference today that the media haven't asked you, or you'd like the media to ask you about.
No, actually, I think that you guys are pretty thorough. Whether it's you or somebody else, you're always hitting on something that is a question or a thought. I think that the fact that Gassiev just turned 24 on October the 12th has been plagued. We are having the youth against the experience here. So all that has been talked about. I think that they're doing a good job in trying to get all the facts out. And that's the only thing that as you and I have talked in the past, that's the only thing that's important to me. Just get all the facts out. Just make sure that we are aware of the pluses and minuses and not innuendo or hearsay.
Okay. Fight that's coming up November the 4th, Stiverne versus Wilder, the rematch. Recently, I was able to pair James Bashir and Stiverne together alongside Don House as well. How much of influence do you think that James Bashir can have in Stavern's camp, bearing in mind that Bashir was also in Klitschko's camp and him watched Deontay Wilder spar Klitschko, he'd know his weaknesses. How key is that, in your opinion?
I think it will help him, but not in that respect. I think it will help him in the calming influence of a Bashir that has the experience of being in all those great training camps with Vladimir. I think that's more important than him watching Wilder spar, because Wilder's a better fighter than he was back then. I think Bashir will come with experience, and Bashir will come with thoughts that are going to be beneficial to Stavern. The thing that may hurt Stavern is inactivity. His inactivity against some quality opposition. That's something that Bashir can't help him with. So, if anything is going to hurt him is that. But Bashir will come with, like I say, with that experience and that calmness, I think, in the gym.
When you talk about experience, and I kind of know what you're talking about, but to go a little bit more in depth, when you talk about experience, what's the difference between having an experienced trainer talking to you in a big fight and an inexperienced trainer, and how do you differentiate the difference between the two of them?
Well, an inexperienced trainer is fidgety. An inexperienced trainer has never been through what's going on in a particular fight or in a particular moment. An experienced trainer has, let me put it this way: Gassiev and Golovkin. Gassiev has had 25 amateur fights, and Golovkin had 350 amateur fights. So when you have 350 amateur fights, there hasn't been a situation that you haven't been exposed to. There hasn't been a situation that you haven't gone through. There hasn't been an opponent, style, a fighter, a color, a height, a weight that you have not been in the ring with. But with Gassiev, maybe there's a lot of situations that he's not been exposed to. Same thing with the coach. When a coach has been in the training camps with Vladimir and gone through whatever defenses he had, 20, whatever it was that he had, you've seen everything. You've seen all the sparring partners come in. You've seen Vladimir look at his best and look at his worst. You've seen the way the sparring partners treat Vladimir and how they respect Vladimir. So that all gives you confidence on how to treat other fighters, because you've been with the best. Once you've been with the best, it's easy to talk to everybody else.
Great. People want to know, Mike asked the question, when is Andy Ruiz returning to the ring?
You know, I just talked to his dad about 2 weeks ago, and Andy Ruiz is very happy doing some construction in the Imperial Valley where he's from. So at this moment, at this time, I don't know. His father doesn't know. It's when Andy gets ready to put aside, people keep reminding him about his weight. I think that's the biggest issue with Andy. And when people stop doing that, I think that Andy will be comfortable with himself. He's a heck of a fighter, and he's a nice young man. It's just he's got to want it himself in his heart. He's got to want to be in the gym and be in a fight.
I know at one point Julius Jackson was training in some sort of a comeback, and what's going on with him now? Do you know?
Well, I talked to his father and I talked to his uncle and I talked to Julius about coming to camp and dedicating himself. The unfortunate thing is in Big Bear, just like when I had Salido in there, I had Salido for about 4 days, but Salido wasn't willing to give us what we needed, and it was too hard for him. Same thing with Julius. It takes, in order to be on top, in order to be the best that you can be, you're gonna have to sacrifice. You're gonna have to put up with a lot of things that maybe you don't want to put up with, and if you're not ready to commit, then there's no sense in coming to camp. I don't think Julius is ready to commit to that kind of lifestyle and that kind of training regimen, because it's going to take a year and a half to get to the point where he wants to go. And if you're not ready to
Hello?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So what are the demands you make of fighters when they come to camp with you, Abel?
Well, the demands, first of all, are that I need to have you 100%. I need to have no distractions. I don't need to have any wives or any girlfriends that are consistently bothering you, because we're doing this for them too. When we train, we train. When you're in camp for 10 weeks, you're in camp for 10 weeks. I don't need to have visitors. I don't need to have it's more of a military camp, I guess you could call it, more of a a camp where you're dedicated to what you're doing, because most of these guys are going to have a short career. Most of these guys are not going to have a career like Bernard Hopkins. Most of these guys are going to have a 10, 12-year career. And if you don't do the best that you can do in this 10, 12 years, then you're finished. There's no sense in trying, like for instance, a Carl Froch, for him to come back. At this point, it's going to take that dedication for him to get back to where he used to be, or else it's not fair to Carl. It's not fair to Carl not to look as good as he can look. But at that age, he's already accomplished a lot of things. The guys that haven't accomplished those things have this small window to try to accomplish those things. And if they don't give it 100%, they're not going to. That's why we have very few champions. That's why we have very few stars. That we have guys that are undefeated, but nobody wants to see them. Why? Because they haven't given themselves a chance to be the best they can be.
Very well explained there. There's talk of Floyd making another comeback. He was back in training. I don't know if that was just for the camera or anything, but the talk about a potential fight between Floyd and Gennady Golovkin, do you think that's realistic?
I think that Floyd is probably the best fighter promoter I've ever heard. Really, he seems to, when he does something, just like when before he did the McGregor thing, he was out there doing the same thing. He was out there in the gym, helping his guys, sparring once in a while, hitting mitts, just to get you that sense that he wanted to come back. I believe he wants to come back. I never believed that the McGregor fight was his last fight. I honestly think that he's doing that because he's building something up. And in his mind, if Canelo happens to get, if a building falls on Golovkin and Canelo happens to beat him, then they have the rematch. Whether he fights Golovkin or not, that remains to be seen. But I think Floyd is a heck of a manipulator. He puts thoughts in people's minds to build the future, his future.
Would you welcome? I mean, it's a silly question to ask, but would you welcome Golovkin Mayweather?
Oh, absolutely. With all the right terms for Golovkin, of course. I'm not going to drop him down to 54 now, anyway, now that we've gotten to this point. But I'm sure that somewhere in the middle there, I'm sure that something could be worked out. It all depends on how Floyd comes at us. It all depends on how Floyd comes at Tom Loeffler and what kind of demands he makes. But of course, that's possible. Anything's possible.
So down at light middleweight, if Floyd said, "I'll fight you at light middleweight,"
I don't think that Golovkin needs him now. I don't think that we're going to kill Golovkin to get him down to 54. I would say 56, 55 and a half would be something that would be doable. But that's not obviously that's not my decision. That would be Golovkin's decision. But I would say that at this point, after the Canelo win, and once we beat Canelo again, Mayweather doesn't have the leg to stand on like he did before.
Well, isn't that a bit of a, I have to pull you up on this, isn't that a bit of a backtrack? Because you said before we'd move down to 154 only for Floyd. Now you're saying, well, we'll move down to 154,
yes.
but...
Yes, absolutely, that's backtrack. That's backtracking because you get to a certain point, just like Floyd did, you call your shots. Just like when Floyd made Canelo come down to 52, you call your own shots.
I have to stop. Abel, I got to stop you there. Canelo said he'd come down to 152. He said we'd come down to 152, and you guys said you'd come down to 154. Now,
this is what again I say, this is when Floyd was active and was the pound best fighter in the world, and I said he deserves that kind of a consideration because he is the pound best fighter in the world. At this point, I think that once we beat Canelo again, I think that we're in a little different situation. Now it's not just Floyd demanding what he wants to demand. If he wants to fight, I think that there should be a negotiation. There should be between Floyd and Golovkin and Golovkin's people.
Well, Floyd
I don't think that it's fair that Floyd just calls the shots.
Floyd would turn around and say to you, Abel, well, okay, you beat Canelo. I beat him, so what?
Then let's go on to something else. Why fight Floyd? If he's going to make demands that are just unreasonable at this point for Golovkin, then we go to somewhere else.
But don't you think he's still entitled to make those decisions or say those things?
He's not as entitled as he was back when we were talking about it 3 years ago. He's
Well,
not as entitled now.
in terms of money,
In
terms of money making, who else in the sport makes as much money as Floyd Mayweather?
No one, but he needs a second banana. He needed McGregor to make that money. He wouldn't have made it without McGregor. He needed Canelo to make that money. He wouldn't have made it without Canelo. You know that. He needed Oscar to make that money. He wouldn't have been a star if Oscar hadn't been there. So he needs a second banana.
Okay, and Floyd has said, okay, fine. You know, you can punch a bit, you can move a bit. You're all right. You're okay. He's just straight up and down. He talked about Golovkin. He called him. Did he call him Little L or something like that? He said, but you've got to be able to do a bit more than it. You need to have charisma and personality to be the real pound for pound superstar like I am. How much of what Floyd said do you think is a dig, and how much of it do you think is the truth?
I think at this point, a lot of it is bravado. A lot of it is what he once was. He's not the Floyd of 4 years ago or 5 years ago, but he's still a great fighter. He's still a great fighter. But in order for him to back those things up, he's going to have to consider that it's not just about Floyd no more. It comes a point where it's not. There's other guys in the mix. There's other guys that are going to be able to demand things also.
Sure.
Yes, you're right. The money would be more with Floyd than it would be with just about anybody else. But after the Canelo fight, I think that Golovkin deserves a little bit of consideration also. I'm not saying it's a 50-50, obviously not, but we don't need, or Golovkin does not need just to bow down like we would have in the past.
But okay, I agree. You shouldn't be bowing down. But I mean, a fight with Floyd. I mean, do you think you? I mean, honestly, 4 years ago, 3-4 years ago, were you confident you could have beaten Floyd?
Of course, I wouldn't have said yes if we weren't. I wouldn't want my guy to lose. I don't like to lose.
Okay, let's put it another way, Chu. Are you more confident you'd beat Floyd than you would have beaten Andre Ward?
I'm confident would have beat both guys. It would have been a more difficult fight with Andre because he's a bigger guy.
Okay. And Andre retiring now, you think he'll ever come back? And if so, would you take obliging of a Ward fight? Pardon?
He didn't come back. He's had a great career.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that I know he's not going to come back for money because I believe Andre Ward still has the first dollar he ever made. But so I don't think it'll be for money. If it's anything, it'll be for pride.
Right.
But I think that he's one of the guys that are content with themselves, and those are the guys that don't come back. Calzaghe, they're content with who they are. He doesn't need to prove anything to anybody. So I would hope that he doesn't, because if he's not in the gym now, and if he takes a couple of years off from the gym, stuff goes away, man. Father Time shows up a lot quicker than people think.
Okay. One of the candidates for Trainer of 2017, Derek James, his fight has had a fantastic win, Charlo against Lubin. What were your thoughts on that victory?
Well, first of all, Charlo was developed by what the heck's his name, Ronnie Shields.
Okay.
That he's only been with James a couple fights. I thought that Charlo threw a punch to a spot, and it just happened to caught Lubin, and Lubin went down. This is boxing; anything can happen at any time. But he's a very good coach. Don't get me wrong; he's a very good coach. I hope he's considered because he has done a magnificent job with Arrow. But I think that there's so much influence from a lot of other different coaches. For instance, Freddie Roach done a magnificent job with Miguel Cotto. So there's a lot of coaches out there that merit the consideration. I'm sure that the writers will take that into consideration and award whoever they think is best. But he's an outstanding young coach.
Okay. So people say, well, no, Lubin has a weak chin and he wasn't as good as everyone cracked it out to be. Was it that, or was it just a perfectly timed shot?
Anybody can be caught. Listen, Danny Jacobs caught Peter Quillen with a perfect shot in the beginning of the fight, and Peter was never ever able to recover. Things like that happen in this game. You just have to come out ready for anything that'll happen. I don't think, I honestly think Charlo thought the punch was going to be that way. He just threw it to a spot because he saw this young man ducking his head down to that side, and they just caught him. It actually caught him a little high in the head. But we'll take those two. I mean, I'm sure Charlo would rather fight 2.5 minutes for the same money than he would to fight 12 rounds. But it's not a knock on Lubin or his people. It's the perfect shot that you can't recover from.
Okay. Ben Hall, where's he?
You know, I wish I knew. Ben Hall was supposed to have gotten back to camp a while back. I thought he was in over with the Macklin group. I have not spoken with him for a while since he left, so I don't know. I seem to concentrate on the guys that I have in camp.
Okay.
The other guys will come around when they come around, and if they don't, that's okay too.
Carson Jones update.
Carson Jones is supposed to be getting a rematch with Antonio Margarito sometime at the beginning of next year.
Okay.
I thought that he got jobbed a little bit in that fight. He got set up and he got decision made wrong. I thought that he was winning the fight, but then again, when you go to places like that, sometimes you get robbed, and I thought he got robbed. But he's back in camp and he fights Margarito. I think he understands now that he can beat Margarito a lot easier. So hopefully he'll be in camp, and hopefully that fight will be made at the beginning of the year.
Anthony Joshua's fight against Pulev got cancelled, and now because of Pulev's injury, Joshua now fights Takam. How much do you know about Carlos Takam, and how do you see the fight going?
I know a lot about Carlos Takam. I had a Carlos fight Mike Perez right after that unfortunate incident in New York with Magomed.
Yes.
Mike Perez wasn't 100% mentally, but Carlos Takam is definitely a very solid journeyman, a very solid fighter. He's not a walkover for Joshua. The only bad part about it, I guess, is that it's an emergency thing that maybe Takam will not have the time, the proper time to prepare, not only physically but mentally. But Anthony Joshua is a specimen. Anthony Joshua is a very good fighter. So even if Carlos Takam had the time, maybe he couldn't beat Joshua, but he had the time. I think it'd be a better fight than it's going to be.
Okay. Rigondeaux and Lomachenko.
As I said in the past to you, Lomachenko, I think, is too big. Lomachenko just proved to be too big and too strong for Rigondeaux. It's going to be a good fight. It's going to be a good chess match. It may not be an exciting fight, but it's going to be a good chess match between two very, very, very skilled fighters. But I think Lomachenko's growing into that bigger size. Rigondeaux will be going up 2 divisions to fight a guy that's in his prime and doing very well and very active.
If you remember the fight between Mosley and De La Hoya, Mosley was 2 weight divisions lower, and he stepped up and he beat De La Hoya. The speed and movement. Does size really matter when it is like that, or really is it going to play that much of a part?
No, I don't think they're going to play a part. I think that Shane Mosley, hand speed and aggressiveness was what he extra. Rigondeaux doesn't have that aggressiveness. He may have some decent hand speed, but I think his chin will fail him. Shane Mosley had a granite chin. Rigondeaux does not have that chin that Mosley had, and I don't think that Rigondeaux will press the action like Mosley did to be able to get some respect.
Interesting. Final question? What's the hardest aspect of training, Abel? That is for the fighters, in your opinion?
I think, in my opinion, the hard part of it, convincing these young men the effort that it's going to take for them to be the best they can be. A lot of times we get, at least for me anyway, I get these guys that have been in other situations, and they don't understand what it takes to be the best you can be. I don't want my guys to be just like the rest of them. I want my guys to be champions. I want my guys to be the best around. But it seems like there's a lot of situations, there's a lot of coaches out there that just want to get by, just want to be in the ring or in the gym and coaching fighters. We as coaches have to develop our skills also, just like the fighters do. And I think we have to do our groundwork so that we can provide that kind of insight and that kind of experience to our fighters. There's too many out there that are, and you know who they are, and you see them every day in the fights, whenever there's fights. Guys that are just willing just to be there. For me, it's not about that. For me, it's about winning, and it's about being the best. My guys being the best. My guy being talked about, and my guys being asked, or being asked about my guys and what they're doing. That's very important.
ABEL Sanchez, as always, thank you so much for talking to BWTM Sports. It's one of the more milder conversations we've had, don't you think?
Well, it's because you weren't hollering at me, man.
I pulled you at once. That was it. I'm treading on.
Have you got an answer for me yet? Have you got an answer for me?
No, we're trying to swerve that, as Carl Froch would say. I'm trying to swerve you like a plague. I can't answer that question. No. When I asked most boxing historians, they said, "Well, bloody nobody." So you know, that's what they basically said to me. So I don't have an answer for you. You've got.
So that's why I asked that question. But that's okay. You know why that's okay with me? Because we put him on such a high pedestal. Expect him to be 1,000% every time on if possible. There's not a guy out there that's been able to do it, and there will never be a guy because nobody's perfect. All we can do is the best that we can do.
But he is almost got God status across. If you read him against social media, he's got almost God status on social media now. He's invincible. He can beat Superman. He can beat Jesus Christ. He can beat everybody. Every time, you just get higher and higher and higher. So people do.
He's still a very humble young man. He's still a very hard worker. He's a guy that if you work hard enough, you may be able to get close to beating him, but you're gonna have to work as hard as he does, or even harder.
Does he read the stuff that's said about him?
He really does. He really does not. He is so just in tune with just being the best he can be in the gym. He's probably his worst critic. In the gym, we'll do some things and he won't do it right. He will do it 1,000 times, not 1,000 times. We'll do it hundreds of times until we get it perfect. And perfect, not in my mind, but perfect in his mind. So, like I said, he's his worst critic. But I think that's why he's where he's at. No, he's not perfect. No, he doesn't do everything 100% in the fight. No, he doesn't do particularly what somebody thinks is the correct thing. But he does what he does in a manner that satisfies him. That's the only thing we can do.
The final question: do you go on YouTube and look up and type up your name and then dislike videos?
No, I go on YouTube and watch videos of Alexis Arguello. I watch videos of Ruben Olivares. I watch videos of Tony Zale. I watch videos of Rocky Graziano, Joe Louis, of Sugar Ray Robinson. I watch those kind of videos.
You don't watch videos of yourself then?
No. I haven't seen the fight yet. I haven't seen the Canelo fight. We very seldom see the fight. The only reason I will see the fight this time is because we may fight it again. But I never go back and look at this. I try not to read the articles. I try not to go on the internet and look at that. In fact, you know what? Before you call me on the phone right now, I was actually watching a golf tournament. A golf tournament that's being played, I think, in Korea or something.
So you don't go on YouTube and look for your name and dislike videos? Okay.
No, should I?
I'm disappointed, Abel. I am, because I was expecting something exciting. Because I hear these stories. People say that when you type of fighters type their names in and they go around pushing dislike on videos. So I haven't heard a fighter yet say anything like that. So I'm just waiting for somebody to say something like this exciting. But alas.
So I would like for my kids to see those, to see that the time that I'm spending away from home, I'm spending it for a good reason.
Yeah.
But, for me, it's I just want my next fight to be better than the last one, and to work harder so that it is so that we give the fans what they pay hard-earned money to see. And for me to go back, I have always felt like for me to go back and look at it, I'm probably my worst critic. I would probably just cry myself to sleep thinking of all the other things I should have done that I didn't do, and I can't be that hard on myself.
Okay, fair enough, Abel. I can't argue with you and what you're saying there. I know I was going to say something to you before I say goodbye. Yes, the coaching video. That do you have any idea who that person was that sent you that coaching video regarding Gennady Golovkin?
No.
You don't know who it is?
No, that was a long time ago.
I know it was. I still
That
tell
was
people.
funny, though.
I'd still tell people about it. Every time your name comes up, that coaching video, I just it's something I tell everyone the story and they laugh at it, and I find it hilarious still up to this day.
You know, Ingram, there's a lot of in my opinion, there's a lot of very good coaches. There's some great coaches out there that are undiscovered. But the only way, just like Steve Jobs and just like the guy that did Microsoft and the Windows, we have to go through the trials and tribulations of creating something. Until you've done that, there's no way that you're going to know how it's supposed to go. It's just like me telling you that I think you do your radio show completely wrong. How the hell do I know? I've never done it. Okay, I've never been at that stage. And even if I had a little radio show in my little town, you're going worldwide. So how can I criticize?
Well, actually, it's funny you should say that, because I had a conversation the other day, not too long ago, with somebody who said to me along the lines of, well, you got a camera, well, I can get a camera and I can do what you can do, and I probably could do it better than you do, and I could get a YouTube channel and I could do better than you do. So there are people that have got the gall in the face to say those sort of things, even if they're
talk is cheap.
Talk is very cheap, and I've discovered in this game that a lot of people do a lot of talking, Abel, but when it comes to actually deliverance, very few can actually deliver the goods. And none of the people that I've spoken to that have been critical of me have actually come up with the goods and said, you know what, this is how it's done, and they've actually topped and done it. None of them have done it. None of them have done it.
But you know what? Another thing that they don't understand, a lot of these people, you're on your end and my end,
yes,
is that these coaches that I say that are good and great, they spend their lifetime. They've sacrificed their family time. They spend so much money on this. It's not even funny. And unfortunately, 1% or 2% of us coaches make any money to be able to support ourselves. Most of us coaches have a day job. Most of us coaches can't take time off of work to go to our fighters' fights. And we're spending our money, our money that we should be supporting our homes and our children with, to buy equipment, to buy trips, to buy food for our fighters, to do things that we should be doing for our children. But it's something that gets up underneath our skin, and we just gotta have it. It's like a drug for us.
It is.
The teaching part of it, the development part of it is like a drug to us. And until those people that are talking like that can honestly say that they've done that, they haven't got the leg to stand on the talk. Because there's too many coaches out there that are deserving of a lot more than they're getting. Absolutely,
Abel. Thank you so much as always for a very enlightening interview. I've enjoyed it. I've got to say we haven't really got into it yet, but it's okay, because I'm sure when a Gennady Golovkin fight we will, because of course when Gennady Golovkin is up and fighting again, I'm sure that we will butt heads again. But for now, it's been quite civil between us. And at the moment, I have to admit that you've got one over me at the moment with the whole question you've asked me, which I still can't answer. I tip my hat off to you at the moment, Abel. I really do. Abel Sanchez, thank you so much for talking to BWTM Sports.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Take care, champ. So there you have it. Abel Sanchez, once again, live and exclusive on BWTM Sports. That's it from us. We've had one hell of a night from earlier on with Frankie Gavin, then the trainer of Jamie Cox, or manager of Jamie Cox, Dean Edwards. Then we had Ian Lewison. Then we had Bermain Stavern, and we finished with ABEL Sanchez tonight. Don't forget to join us tomorrow. We're going to have James Ali Bashir. We may even get Derek James in the room. And on Sunday, we will have the man fighting Jürgen Bremer in the World Boxing Super Series, Rob Brandt, or Rob Bravo Brandt, trained by Derek James. We'll be having him in the show as well. So it's all happening to BWTM Sports. Don't forget to rate, subscribe, leave your comments. Hello, Ben Scott. And yeah, thank you all for tuning in. It's been another explosive night. Thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate you. I'm out. Take care.